You can measure the size of an elephant. You can clock the speed of a cheetah, but you can't quantify the heart of a kings, queens, and in-betweens. Welcome to Dr. Boxing Talk. Stream starts now.
If I tell you I'm good, probably you will say I'm boasting. But if I tell you I'm no good, you know one line.
Yo, yo, yo. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Kings and queens, brothers and sisters, brethren and sistren, ladies and lads, what is poppy? Y'all know what time it is. The doctor's in the house. We're here, baby. Beware, baby. We are here, baby. Yes, sir, man. Let's take this quick roll call. Oh, my goodness. Hold on. My boy Oscar is starting off the stream on the great foot. You feel me? The second best way to start off a stream, and that's with money. The first best way is to thank God. You know what I'm talking about? We got to keep it funky. But shout out to Oscar, and thank God for Oscar dropping that hello yellow on a fellow with that graffiti on the chat walls, dropping that bread, that cheese, that butter. Me brother, Cardinal, family. Yes, sir, man. Mi hermano in the building, man. Big Oscar in the building. Mi hermano and el edificio. Come on now. Hey, Oscar. They ain't ready, bro. They not ready, man. They not ready. They not ready for my Spanish now. I'm telling you, we gonna turn up. Good Lord willing, man. We working on it, bro. We working over here. We working. You know how you know how I do. But yeah, man, before we get into the ratchetness, let's talk this boxing, man. I mean, let's thank God before we get into this ratchetness and talk this boxing. So don't forget to smack that like button, but let's go ahead and say our prayers, man. Please join me and bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you. We come to you humbly. We come to you with respect. We come to you with fearfully as well, Lord. We know, but we just ask you to continue to bestow your blessings on us. And we ask you that, you know, you give us the ability to also not only be sympathetic towards others, but also empathetic, Lord. I feel like when you're empathetic, then you're able to relate to people more, and you're able to understand what they're going through, Lord. And a lot of times we act out of impulse, whether we're having a simple discussion or argument, or, you know, a lot of times we jump to conclusions and assume based on our own pride and our own ego, Lord. So please let us set that aside when appropriate, and just try to do things that you would do, and that's a lot of it is based off of love, most importantly, but also patience and understanding. And so, Lord, we ask you for more patience and more understanding, not just for ourselves and those that we love, but also those that we don't understand, and we don't relate to, and especially give us patience with those that may come off as offensive. Because a lot of times we match fire with fire, and sometimes the whole building gets burned down, and we don't want to do that, Lord. So please give us the ability to know when to stand up, and also give us the ability to know when to walk away. And yeah. So Lord, we thank you. We ask you to forgive us for our sins, and we ask you to allow us to use our blessings to become the light of the world that we should be, to make it a little more brighter for anybody who needs it. Through Jesus' name. Amen. 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 Amen, man. Shout out to my boy, my boy Oscar, man, dropping the $10, man. Starting off the stream on a great note, you feel me? But yeah, man, so we got some things to talk about today. I apologize for not making it to the morning show. Had some things to take care of. I was gonna set it aside, but we didn't have much topics anyway to talk about. So I was like, okay, let me just do this now in the morning, and then we come through on the late show. So we're here now, man. But we have some updates with the Olympics, man. We got some great updates, some great news. Apparently the president of the IOC, President Thomas Bach, for the International Olympic Committee, the IOC, he confirms that he fully expects that the Olympics in 2028 will have boxing in it, man. So good Lord willing. So we'll see. So there's been a lot of issues, especially surrounding the Imane Khalif and the other contender fighter. I can't remember her name, her name. And those issues with the gender, being appropriate to compete, against other women or other men. They didn't know how to properly classify some of the participants, and so other things too in addition to that, but that was the main focus as to why they were considering removing it from the next Olympics. But people like Triple G, saying Gennady Gennadovich Golovkin and other people have been working hard to make sure that boxing remains in the Olympics. I think that's a good deal, because a lot of amateurs, a lot of people, they get their boxing start off in the Olympics, and that's a major accomplishment to even be in the Olympics, to be included, but then also to win a medal. You get your career started off right. I'm saying? A lot of boxers get to make a name for themselves going into the pros from what they did in the Olympics, like Anthony Joshua, like Deontay Wilder, and so many others, man. We ain't gonna go through everybody, but you know what I'm saying, Clarissa Shields, Andre Ward, people like that, even Floyd Mayweather, Shakur Stevenson. So I think that'd be very I think it's very important for people to be seen, and have a sport that brings us so much enjoyment, that we all, it brings us so much joy, and that we enjoy a lot, what I'm saying? So I think that'd be good to have it in the Olympics. So that's a good thing, man. President Thomas Bach, he didn't say it is for sure, but he said that he fully anticipates in a statement that it will be approved for 2028, the Olympics, man. So yeah, Usyk, Lomachenko, yep, Andy Cruz. Like I said, I ain't gonna go through everybody, but y'all know what I'm talking about. It's a whole lot of people to name, what I'm saying? So but yeah, so I thought that was really cool, man. But that's some other news, man. We're gonna get a little controversial. So we did the plus side of boxing. Now we're gonna go to the downside of boxing. And the downside is that one of the negative aspects of boxing. Let me sip some of this water real quick. Marco Verde. Oh, this man Oscar about to go in. Marco Verde, yes. Omari Hill, who we just saw. Omari Jones, who we just saw fight. There's a lot of people, man. But the little negative side of boxing, man. There's Ryan Garcia's in the news again, and it's not for anything good again. Ryan Garcia came in, and apparently he has admitted that he was on drugs when he vandalized the hotel room. Oh my gosh, shocker, right? We already know that. We already knew that, and it was already known. You know what I'm saying? We knew, and it's known. You know what I'm talking about? So, but it was just so funny because he's saying that he's on shrooms and he's on drugs. So this is just another incident where he's on drugs, but it's so funny when he tests positive for drugs, people are in doubt of that, and I'm talking about PEDs, because the D in PEDs is for drugs. It's performance enhancing drugs. So I just think it's just so funny that we have to see things like this, and people are still in denial about him cheating or not. There's nothing to be in denial about. You just admit it, acknowledge it, and move forward. And then I think that it'll be easy to get to be put behind you once you admit. I mean, the man blamed ashwagandha, the man blamed NutriBio, the man blamed the strength and conditioning coach. He blamed then he blamed like his family members put it on his toothpaste or something like that. The man blamed everything under the sun, you know. So just admit it, bro, and then just move forward. You saying you're on drugs now, we know. And the same way people are mad about Devin Haney, which has nothing to do with him testing positive for a test. It's like, bro, Oscar Duarte also accused him of being on PEDs. And let's be very clear, Devin Haney never accused him. He failed the test, and that's when Devin Haney was like, okay, bet you failed the test. Oscar Duarte is the one that accused him for his fight before the Devin Haney fight, and he said, hey, man, I think he was on PEDs because I don't know how he lost so much weight so quickly and was so strong during the fight. So, you know, it's just funny how people hear what they want to hear and they consume what information they want to consume. They're very selective to push whatever narrative that they want to push. So we'll see how it goes, man. But yeah, Ryan Garcia, he said he was on shrooms when he vandalized a hotel room because he is going through court. He's being sued by a plethora of folks. He has quite a few lawsuits. So, but I just thought that was funny. It's like people are so quick to believe that he was on shrooms to justify what he did in the hotel, but they don't believe that he was on drugs, even though he tested positive, going through the procedure and protocol by VADA and the New York State Athletic Commission that found him to test positive on the test that they administered. And people are doubting that, but they want to believe that he's on shrooms when it comes to vandalizing the hotel room, but not when vandalizing the persons. I just think it's just funny, man. You know, it's just funny to me, man. But you know, and that's it for the Ryan Garcia news, man. I want to move on to Ronnie Shields, bro. Ronnie Shields, man. Shout out to Ronnie Shields, man. He trained a lot of great fighters. You know, he been in the ring with a lot of great fighters, and he bestowed a lot of knowledge on a lot of great fighters, and he's responsible for a lot of fighters performing well. You know what I'm saying? Most recently, he has Dave Morrell, and he worked with Mike Tyson, and he worked with a lot of folks, you know, including Jermall Charlo, who it is rumored that he will be moving. You know what I'm saying? He will be moving to come back in May, right? So according to Ronnie Shields, man, I just watched the interview with him on a podcast, and it was said that he may be coming back in May 17th or May 24th. I think that's dope, man. Like I said, because Jermall Charlo is a top-notch fighter, and boxing's always better when it has more top-notch fighters, you know, good champions in there, so we can see more exciting fighters. And there's a lot of exciting fights for Jermall Charlo if he returns. First, I think that's the most appropriate for him to get a tune-up, of course, because he's been on a hiatus, you know what I'm saying, on a sabbatical, if you will, and he's returning now. I think it'll behoove him to get a tune-up, whether that's against Thomas Cornflake LaManna or whoever it is. It doesn't really matter to me. I don't have anybody in my mind, but just somebody to get him back in the swing of things. He's just coming off, I think his last fight was against Jose Benavidez Jr., which he was severely outmatched him because of his physical stature. I don't even know why Jose Benavidez, who I like a lot, I don't even know why he accepted to go all the way up there to fight Jermall Charlo, man. He just looked very, he just looked kind of out of place. He's just too small. But I think Jermall Charlo should get a little tune-up, and then, you know, he could fight guys like Jaime Munguia if Jaime Munguia beats Bruno Soras in their rematch after that upset. He could fight guys like Caleb Plant, you know what I'm saying, get recompense for that slap that he deserved. You know, Caleb Plant put that foul on him. You know, that was funny. And then, so that's always a big fight. And then, of course, Edgar Berlanga, you know, that'd be a good fight. But then not even to mention, you got up-and-coming bulls like Christian and Billy, Diego Pacheco, and even Ozzy Iglesias would be interesting. So there's some people there that'll be interesting for him to fight. But we want to see him hopefully get back in the swing of things and get back in good spirits. But shout out to Ronnie Shields for saying that. I think that's dope. Hopefully it's true this time, because he's been claiming to come back, and we ain't seen him yet. You know what I'm saying? So this will be good. Hopefully this is real, and we might get another PBC card in May, in the middle to late May. And then in addition to that too, I want to salute Ronnie Shields, because he also disclosed in that same interview that he will be inducted into the National Golden Glove Boxing Hall of Fame, man. So that's fire, man, for his contributions as a coach and a trainer and a fighter as well. So shout out to him, man. Ronnie Shields, I definitely think he deserves it. And you can tell all the good work he does in boxing is appreciated from the interviews, from the fighters, how they revere him and stuff like that. So shout out to Ronnie Shields, man. Now I want to move on to Joseph Parker. Let's move on to Joseph Parker, man. I want y'all to see this. So Joseph Parker Let me see if I could do this real quick. Give me a second. Duplicate this. All right, so Joseph Parker. I'm probably gonna get copyrighted for this because YouTube doesn't like when you play music, but we gonna let it rock anyway. So Joseph Parker just dropped a video today calling out Alexander Usyk, and so excuse me, that's him calling out Usyk, and I think it's dope, right? And it's justified too because I know some people that frequent the channel, they think that I have something against Joseph Parker. I don't. I just tell the truth about the situation, and the truth sometimes doesn't benefit every party that's involved or included in the conversation. And Joseph Parker is a WBO interim champion. He deserves a chance at the WBO champion, who happens to be Alexander Usyk. However, when people say that Joseph Parker deserves it more than Daniel Dubois, where are you getting that from? Daniel Dubois has been on a mean streak, right? He beat Jerrell Baby Miller. I believe he was his first loss too. Jerrell Baby Miller was undefeated, right? And he's a former PED user. He stopped him. He stopped Filip Hrgović, and then he just stopped Anthony Joshua in dramatic fashion. You know what I'm saying? In Wembley, in front of all those people, right? He's an IBF champion. So if Usyk wants to reclaim undisputed, it goes through him. But the important part is what I said is the reclaim. I want to put an emphasis on the reclaim. You know why he has to reclaim it? He didn't lose to Tyson Fury. Remember, he beat Tyson Fury to obtain undisputed. Then he beat him again to defend. Right? I mean, he beat him again in a rematch, but it wasn't for undisputed. Why wasn't it for undisputed? Because Usyk got stripped of the IBF because he didn't want to fight his mandatory. Guess who his mandatory was? Daniel Dubois. Right? So when people say, oh, Usyk owes, I mean, that's not that he owes, that Joseph Parker is next in line. Yeah, he is, of course, because now Daniel Dubois became a champion after Usyk was retroactively stripped, right? I mean, he retroactively became a champion after Usyk was stripped. So when he fought Filip Hrgović, that turned into an IBF title fight, right? It ended up being that retroactively. So now he's an IBF champion. So now you're not a mandatory, of course. But if you want to talk about the order of things, how they were before, Dubois was supposed to fight Usyk before Usyk even had the Tyson Fury rematch. You see what I'm saying? So when people say, oh, yeah, well, Joseph Parker, he beat Deontay Wilder, Zhilei Zhang, and Martin Bakole. Yeah, those are okay wins, but they all have an asterisk, right? Deontay Wilder's 38 years old, 48 fights. Zhilei Zhang was 42 years old, and they went to majority decision. Some people thought he lost. He got dropped twice, and then he beat Bakole in 2 days' notice. Those aren't impressive wins. And that's why people think I'm hating on Joseph Parker. No, I think Joseph Parker's a good fighter. But he did lose to Anthony Joshua. He got knocked out by Joe Joyce, and he lost to Dillian Whyte. And speaking of that, and this is what I want to show y'all right now. I want to show y'all this right here, because I made a video about this, but I guess people missed it. This is the one that you know what I'm saying? So he was basically calling out the people that he lost to before. So let's keep it going. I believe this is the Dillian Whyte. I want to know, is this a real picture, bro? Like, I never looked into that because, yeah, well, Oscar said the YMCA vibes or whatever, but that looked crazy, bro. I don't know if this is Photoshop or that's a real picture of Dillian Whyte. It looks pretty legit, bro. I ain't gonna lie. This man on some Oscar De La Hoya type things. I don't know what he got on, man. But that just look crazy. But anyway. Now, and then this is the one that he made for Anthony Joshua, you know, and like I said, so he lost to Dylan White, he lost to Anthony Joshua. Like, bro, I ain't gonna lie, I think it's funny, man. So, but now, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if he made one about about Joe Joyce, and if he did, I missed that one. But I saw all these ones before. Like I said, I dropped videos on them. So I don't know how people missed them, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I dropped videos on them, and I covered those too. I'm not going to do one for Usyk, but like I saw Dan Raphael in the interview saying that he never seen unique ways like this to call out somebody. I'm like, bro, he said that in response to the one that he just dropped today for Usyk. I'm like, bro, he did this before, you know, so I don't know where people were when he did that. But I thought they were funny. I did see one for Joe Joyce. Now, I wonder if he didn't make it for Joe Joyce because, one, Joe Joyce knocked him out. Or two, what I think it is that Joe Joyce wasn't really active per se. So I think that's why he didn't really make one for Joe Joyce. But I don't know. But, you know, Joe Joyce stopped him. He beat him the worst. Oscar said, oh, heck no, bro. Why them songs? Does he want to be in the ring? Or he's want to fight in the bed? Or fight in the ring? Hey, pause.
No, did he?
So, yeah, nah, I think that, yo, Free Smoke was good. But nah, I think it's just unique, man. I like it. I ain't gonna lie. I think it's funny, man. So shout out to Joseph Parker. But like I said, him calling out Usyk, that's what he should be doing. But I would rather see Usyk versus Dubois. That's just me, man. And I don't think that you know, with Joseph Parker, his streak, I think Dubois is more justified. And if you want to go by how the fights were called, then you know the IBF mandatory was first, and Dubois was. If you go back in history, Dubois was the one that was supposed to get the Usyk opportunity first anyway. So I wouldn't mind if it's Usyk versus Joseph Parker. So Joseph Parker, so Usyk doesn't get stripped, but I don't know if that happens because I definitely think that, like I said, I would rather see Usyk versus Dubois. But not only that, but I do think it's a bigger, more lucrative fight, and Usyk has already shown you that. Hey, he already got disputed. He's willing to go for the bigger bag, and I think Dubois is the bigger fight. But if he fought Joseph Parker, I'd be cool with that too, because Joseph Parker definitely deserves it. He's in an interim position, but I'd rather see Daniel Dubois. All right, so moving on, man. Moving on to another topic is that Oscar said he not going. I like it, bro. And then so speaking of that, man, David Benavidez, man, I was watching the same interview with Dan Raphael. And he was discussing something that we already thought would come to fruition as well. Again, we thought that David Benavidez would be fighting, what's the dude's name? Callum Smith, right? Because we thought that was a possibility because David Benavidez said, hey, man, I might be going to fight. I want to fight Beterbiev or Bivol winner, which obviously is Bivol. And the WBC put that mandate in for him, right? They made him the mandatory. So it seems like Bivol has to fight him. A similar situation that Usyk was just in. But no one thinks that Bivol is gonna honor the WBC mandatory. We think he's going to allow himself to be stripped. He's going to vacate the belt in order to go chase the Beterbiev trilogy, which is what he should do, right? Even if it's just from a common courtesy, right? That's Beterbiev gave him the rematch. And I just think it's the right thing to do because if this trilogy gets drawn out, the longer it takes, the worse it gets for Beterbiev because he is the older fighter, you know? I don't think that him being old is why he lost the second fight. But if this thing keeps going on and on and on, I mean, he's not going to get any younger. So obviously he's going to be slower and it's going to be harder for him to track down a guy with Bivol's fighting style. I think Bivol wins the trilogy again. But if it goes on past this year, man, I'm no longer interested. But the good news is that if they do pursue that, then Dave Benavidez is not a fish out of water because he could fight Callum Smith, and Callum Smith is a formidable opponent. You know, Callum Smith just beat Joshua Buatsi in an upset, which we called, right? Which I called, and Callum Smith is he hasn't really backed down from any smoke. I'm not saying that he wants to fight Dave Benavidez. I'm not saying that he's willing to, but in his history, he has fought anybody, right? He only has 2 losses, one to Canelo, no shame in that. Cinnamon, you know what I'm saying? And then the other one to Beterbiev, and he got stopped by Beterbiev. So those aren't 2 bad losses. Those are great losses. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna have 2 losses that people would understand, it would be against those 2 gentlemen, you know what I'm saying, Canelo and Beterbiev. So and then when he beat Joshua Buatsi, that's a good win and shows that you bounce back because that gentleman there is another formidable fighter. So I think Callum Smith and Dave Benavidez would be a great fight. I think people would enjoy it, and I think Benavidez would win, and it's definitely not the fight that you probably want because you want the title shot, but at the same time I think this is a good match to have in the interim. And I think it'll be I think Callum Smith will give him a run for his money, but I do think Benavidez will wear him down and eventually beat him. But Callum Smith is no slouch, man. He's a big puncher. People forget that. And Ronald Gavril did drop Benavidez. Even though it was a flash knockdown, it wasn't like It wasn't a big knockdown, but it was still a flash knockdown. And hey, it shows that you could get dropped. You know what I'm saying? You could argue that Dave Morrell dropped him too, right? Even though it was the punch was it was a little off balance. You know what I'm saying? But I count it as a knockdown. The referee called it as a knockdown, so it is what it is, man. Now on to the last topic, man. The last topic that I have for today is TKO boxing details have came out, man. I'm not gonna go over everything, but let me pull it up right here. And they have dropped some of their pay rate, right? The anticipated pay. So this is an article that was dropped by Boxing Scene. It's everything we know so far about the new TKO boxing league, from payments to potential problems. Now you could go, they kind of talk about everything as far as what they know when they say, you know, this could have a potential problem, this could be potentially good. But the most part, that the biggest part that everybody wanted to focus on, of course, is the money, because people be worried about everybody else's pockets, which is crazy. Yo, what's good, Omari? Everybody is concerned with other people's pockets, like they're getting broken off some of the money or something like that. But anyway, so here is the part that everybody focused on, right? So as a fighter under the TKO boxing league umbrella, you will get $20,000 for a 10-round fight by an unranked fighter. So if you're relatively unknown and unranked, then you're going to get $20,000 for a 10-round fight. That's not bad. I think that's pretty good for an unknown fighter, right? And then if you're ranked between 10 and 5, then you'll get $50,000. So you have a significant increase, right? You have a 2.5 times increase, right? So you get double and a half, right? 2.5 times more if you're ranked between 10 and 5, right? And then if you're ranked 3 and 4, you get a significant increase, man. You get a significant, again, it's 2.5, right? You get $125,000. And then if you when you're challenging for any championship, so if you're ranked number 1 or 2, you're going to get a whopping $375,000. You know, so I think that's good for fighters that are relatively unknown and haven't established themselves as a commercial fighter yet, or have a huge profile or an established brand, right, or a major push, right? And then if you are defending the championship of the quote unquote company that they put, then you get $750,000. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's great. You almost get $1 million, you know, $750,000. So I think that's great money. However, what is about that is going to attract somebody like a Usyk or a Canelo or a Bud or a Tank. You know what I'm saying? So it's not really for the guys that are established. How I see it as something we already talked about, right? We anticipated this. Just kind of reinforces it. We think that it's going to be a rival to things like OTX, right? The overtime boxing tournament, and then also like things like Pro Boxing. Remember, like they used to have Friday night fights and stuff like that, and even Top Rank, you know, because Top Rank is notorious for bringing on younger fighters and kind of grooming them into bigger stars, and they go about their business essentially. So I think that this is going to challenge that, or even maybe work in unison with ESPN and Top Rank, because, you know, Dana White has a great relationship with ESPN. You know, that's how they're able to sweep his domestic violence case against his wife when he slapped her. They swept that under the rug because, you know what I'm saying, his ties with ESPN and the big machine. So I wouldn't be too shocked if it kind of, I ain't gonna say merge with Top Rank, because Top Rank's Bob Arum and his sons are in there, and it's already a company I think is gonna go on even with or without Bob Arum. You know, I think it'll continue, but I don't know. It could be something like that where it kind of grooms the younger fighters and attracts the younger fighters to come and fight, and not only get televised and get a promotion, but also get paid a decent amount of money. So, and the thing that's bad is like what we kind of expected too, right? I talked about this before, when you says the company, right? And Dana White doubles down, saying that he has no interest in working with the other promoters or the sanctioning bodies. Then to me, it's more so than a league. It's going to be its own sanctioning body. It's like another sanctioning body and another promotion mixed in one, and it's going to be like a promotional company that has their own sanctioning body all in one, and they're going to ignore the other one. So essentially we'll have another belt. We'll have like a 5th recognized belt, you know what I'm saying? Kind of like what the IBO is trying to establish themselves as. So I don't think that's a good thing, but, you know, we got to wait and see, you know, because I do think that this is a good thing. And if it could give us competitive fights, then it'll be like a pro box, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's who is going to challenge. I think the biggest threat of the TKO venture is they're the biggest threat to guys like Pro Box and OTX and companies that are already focused on the lesser known fighters. I think this is, I mean, but competition is always good. You know what I'm saying? The fact that there's not a monopoly is going to force people to step their game up. So competition always brings forth a healthier situation, in my opinion. So this is good. I just don't know how long it'll last, especially with Dana White talking about he's going to work in his own bubble. So I don't know how attractive this will be for people like that are trying to get in, that are trying to see like the higher caliber fighters, and maybe that's their lane, you know. So I don't think anything's wrong with it, man. I do like these prices. They seem good, but once again, you know me, man. I don't really be concerned about the economics of boxing, you know. But a lot of people that be so concerned about how much these fighters are making, like they're getting a cut. You know what I'm saying? They be out here pocket watching. I do think that this seems good.
Don't speak on how they pay you, because pocket watching us men shouldn't do, and that's just by nature. But thank you.
Yeah, I'm just not with the pocket watching, but those numbers seem good. Like, can you imagine if like Abdullah Mason was in this tournament, and how much he'll you know, how excited somebody like Abdullah Mason would probably be to get in here, or like somebody like I don't know, like what's the young guy coming out, Oscar Marco Verde, or even Amari Jones that just came out, you know, that just made his pro debut, or anybody like that, you know, somebody who doesn't get in a lot of looks, somebody doesn't have a big promotional push, you know, they could get in this tournament and they could probably make, you know, they'll make a decent amount of money, you know, and then they could build their name. Like, you become a champion of this, and then be like, okay, bet, you know, I'm a former champion of the TKO league, I was a belt holder, and then once you move on to greener pastures, if you will, or you get noticed, then you could go on and go for things like the WBA, WBC, WBO, IBF belts, and you're already more known as you're more recognizable, and you're more of a household name. So I think that's pretty good in my opinion. So I'm not changing my stance on it. I still don't rock with Dana White at all, and I'm not sold that it's gonna work. I'm not sure it's gonna work, but I do think that this is, at least from the pay, I think it's decent, you know, for like guys that are unknown. But if you talk about like guys that are established, I don't see why would Ryan Garcia, why would Devin Haney, why would fighters that make a lot of money already, why would they find this intriguing? You see what I'm saying? So that's the issue right there. I think that's probably one of their bigger issues, not to mention with the Reformed Ali Act. You know, they're really going for, and Dan Raphael explains this very well. But it's like, if you're going for another belt, introduce another belt in the way that they're doing it, that is violating the Ali Act. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see how it goes, man. We'll see how that goes, and that's federal, so you can't really do that. That's in place to protect the welfare of the fighters, you know, which a lot of times it wasn't done. It was kind of their welfare was neglected back in the day. That's why they had to bring it up in the first place. So I don't know, man. I think it has a lot of obstacles, and it has a lot of doubts surrounded, my doubts included. But I think it could be a good. I think it could be a good thing. I think it could be a good thing. Emphasis on the could. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see, man. You know, I think boxing is in a good place. I don't think this is a bad thing for more competition, but I'm not like super excited, you know. What I am excited for is the fact that David Benavidez could potentially be fighting Callum Smith. I really like that fight, you know. I think that fight is it's meaningful. But I want to be mad. Like, okay, I'm gonna put it like this. I want Callum Smith to do it, but if he doesn't do it, I wouldn't be mad at him, because Callum Smith has been through a gauntlet as of late. You know, like I said, he fought Beterbiev, fought Canelo, Beterbiev, and then he just fought Joshua Buatsi. Now, he didn't fight them back to back. He had fights in the interim. But man, if him fighting Dave Benavidez, bro, Callum Smith would have really run through it, bro, and that'd have been tough. Also, too, they released the Eubank and the Chris Eubank versus Conor Benn card. That card is it's all right, man. I'm gonna pull it up so everybody can see it. The Conor Benn and Callum. Chris Eubank and Callum, I keep saying Callum, and Conor Benn card. Let me pull it up real quick. So these are the people that are on the Chris Eubank and Conor Benn card. So you got Chris Eubank versus Conor Benn, obviously, and then you got Lyndon Arthur and Anthony Yarde. I think that's like a trilogy, bro. If I'm not mistaken, I think Lyndon Arthur versus Anthony Yarde is like a trilogy, bro. I think they fought already. What the heck is this? Oh, why did they do all that? Let me pull it up and make sure. I think Lyndon Arthur versus Callum Smith Anthony Yarde. Okay, so yeah, Anthony Yarde won. Yep, Anthony Yarde right here. Anthony, yeah, I knew I wasn't tripping. Yeah, he beat Anthony Yarde the first time, and he got stopped by Anthony Yarde. So they're having a trilogy. And this makes sense because they're 1-1, unlike other fighters that are having trilogies and they're 2-0. You know, and then you have Aaron McKenna, who's exciting, versus Liam Smith, Callum Smith's older brother. That should be a decent one. And then you got Chris Billiam Smith, CBS versus Brandon Glanton. That should be a decent one too. And then you got Vidal Riley versus C4 Clark, you know, Shavon Clark, the Jamaican badman. That should be a decent one. But the point is that this card, you know, people were talking trash about the Canelo card. You know, Canelo card has Canelo versus Skull, obviously, for an opportunity to reclaim Undisputed. That's a great fight. Got Jaime Munguia versus Bruno Saras, a rematch. I think that's a good fight. Got Martin Bakoli versus Efe Ajagba. That's a good fight. And then you got another championship fight in Badu Jack, who's a WBC Cruiserweight champion, versus the #1 rated contender in Ryan Rozicki. That's a good fight. You know, and they're not recognizable names, but neither are these. You know, but shout out to them. You know, but the difference between this and the reason why people aren't crucifying this is because guess what? This is an English card. This is for the British folks. You know what I'm saying? Our brothers and sisters across the pond, the ladies and lads, they love boxing over there. It's not a boxing issue. This is an appreciation or lack of appreciation issue. So yeah, I think that the Canelo card is much better than this, but it's not getting the disrespect because it's an English card, and England will appreciate this card. The majority of people that, in my opinion, that are saying that the Canelo card is bad, you know, they're probably from a certain location. You know what I'm saying? So I think this Canelo card is good, and I think it's better than that card. But I think this card right here is a decent card too. You know, I think that card's pretty decent. The fight that I'll be looking forward to the most on that one, I want to see how C4 bounces back from a loss. So I'm interested in that. But I think that I ain't gonna lie, man. Chris Eubank and Conor Benn got me interested, man. That Chris Eubank been talking a lot of trash, and you know, Conor Benn been doing his little trash too. I don't like him either. He just seems like an arrogant, annoying little asshole. But Chris Eubank, I don't really care for him either. But I'm liking him more with the build up. You know, he said he wants to really stick it to Conor Benn for the cheating that he did. And I love that. And then also too, you know, he just feels like he was disrespected because they're supposed to fight before, but when Conor Benn got popped with the PEDs, that put off their fight. You know what I'm saying? And he's mad. He's taking it personal that he's like, oh, you would have cheated against me? Oh, nah, bro, I'm not going. So I'm looking for Chris Eubank to potentially even stop Conor Benn if the fight happens, because there's some people that have doubts. They feel like the fight may not happen. Somebody may pull out. That's what the word on the street is. And also too, another word on the street is that Eddie Hearn wanted to bet a substantial amount of paper, substantial amount of money and cheese for this fight. And then Chris Eubank accepted. And then now Eddie Hearn is saying, oh, Chris Eubank knew that he couldn't accept the fight because he can't bet on it. Duh, you can't bet on it. You're working in the capacity of a promoter, bro. You can't do that. That's going to be a violation of the policies, you know? So the BBBFC, the British Boxing Board of Control, sent him a letter saying, hey, man, you know, not just Eddie Hearn specifically, but I guess they sent a mass email to remind people that you cannot be involved in bets like that working in the capacity of a promoter. So, you know, then Eddie Hearn is so funny. You know, he got a sly tongue, so he tried to make it seem like, oh yeah, Chris Eubanks just doing this for clicks and saying that, oh yeah, I'm gonna make this $1 million bet or whatever. He knows that Eddie Hearn can't go through it. It's like, how you blaming Chris Eubank for accepting your bet that you made? You initiated the bet. You created the bet. So you're the one that established the wagers. How you gonna get mad at Chris Eubank because he accepted it? It's like probably you're the one that's doing it for clicks. But it's just funny, man. People are hilarious. People are hilarious, man. I swear, they got to be trolling with some of their thoughts. Like even with the Ryan Garcia stuff, it's like, you know, God has a sense of humor because it's so funny. Everybody talking about how much he wasn't on drugs, but then he's getting sued for vandalizing that hotel room last year, and he's saying that he was on drugs. So it's just the hypocrisy is crazy, man. He said, "Keep it real. This card is bad." I don't think that card is bad. It's just definitively worse than the Canelo card in my opinion. But I don't think it's bad though. I don't think it's bad, but I'm definitely gonna watch it. Like I said, I'm interested in the main event. I want to see how C4 Clark bounces back. I think that Lyndon Arthur and Anthony Yarde, that's gonna be a good fight, and that's a trilogy. And I also think that there was another fight on there. Liam Smith versus who was he fighting? Was it Tyrone McKenna? I think that's gonna be a good fight too. So I don't think it's a bad card. But like I said, I definitely think it's worse than the Canelo card. So I don't get why everybody's complaining about the Canelo card, but then has the audacity to be excited about this card. Right now too, we have a press conference with George Kambosos versus Jake Wally. I thought that was dope too. I was watching the interview with Jake Wally, who was George Kambosos' late replacement as an opponent, because Dowd Jordan, did he get sick or injured? Either way, he can't compete. I think he was sick. And so Jake Wally replaced him. But Jake Wally in the interview today said that, hey man, I was planning on attending the fight as a fan to watch George Kambosos and Dowd Jordan. He said he had tickets and everything, and then now he's actually fighting. So that's why you just got to stay ready, man. You never know when a blessing might fall in your lap, you know. So I think that's a funny story that he was going to attend the fight to watch it, and now he's actually part of it and the main event at that. So yeah, we got George Kambosos, Jake Wally on Matchroom right now, their press conference, and it's going to be I think it's gonna be a good card, man. It's gonna be a packed Saturday, you know. And Sky Nicholson versus Tierra Brown, 2 undefeated ladies going at it as well, man. You know what I'm saying? One time for the ladies. So I think that's gonna be a good fight as well. The only thing I'm leaning towards Sky Nicholson. I like her as far as the fighting goes. But Tierra Brown is a formidable opponent. You know, she's I think she's 18-0. But the thing about that is 9 of her opponents, literally half of her opponents as a professional, they have a losing record. So I think that is going to play a major factor. Even though she has more fights than Sky, I think Sky has higher level of opposition, because Sky Nicholson, she's 12-0, but only 1 of her opponents had a losing record in the professional ranks. Tierra Brown, half of her opponents had a losing record. So that doesn't mean that anything's etched in stone, like she's definitively going to win or lose because of that. But I think that's going to play a major factor, because if you fought harder opponents, then naturally you're going to be accustomed to being in the fire a little bit more and fighting at the highest level. And it's so funny because I tweeted something like that and Sky Nicholson reposted it, I guess because she thought I was justifying her win. And I mean, I kind of am, you know. So that's what I'm saying. I'm favoring Sky Nicholson because of that. Not just because of that, but also because of that too. So shout out to Sky Nicholson for retweeting your boy. You know what I'm talking about? So but yeah, that was dope. But yeah, so that's it for the news today, man. I don't really have much. I see a lot of people talking about the Gary Antoine Russell Shakur potential fight. Like I said, we talked about that already. I think that's gonna be a great fight. If it happens, I just don't think it'll happen. Because, you know, Gary Antoine Russell is at 140. Shakur Stevenson is a champion at 135. They're both champions, but they're in different divisions. Now, if Shakur moves up, that's a possibility. I don't really see Gary Antoine Russell coming down, even though he said he could come down. I just don't really see that, man. I don't think you're gonna come down. If anything, Shakur will go up. And I think if Shakur does go up, I'm not sure he comes back down. You know what I'm saying? So I don't even think it would benefit him to come back down. I think he should stay up. I think people underestimate the tax it puts on your body when you fluctuate weights like that. Even if it's only a 5-weight differential between the weight classes, it's still different. Your body goes through a transformation, especially when you're young as well. So I don't know, man. I don't think that fight's gonna happen. I think it has a lot of hype right now. If it happens, that'd be dope though, because I love that fight. Gary Antoine Russell and Shakur. I honestly don't know how that goes, you know, because can Shakur keep Gary Antoine Russell off of him? I don't know, you know, and then can Shakur can Gary Antoine Russell penetrate that defense? I don't know, you know what I'm saying? I could see how, you know, like my biggest critique on Gary Antoine Russell is not that he's not a good fighter. He's a complete fighter. He has all the tools, but he just doesn't stay disciplined. Like he always kind of goes back and reverts to like amateurish ways where he just seems like he's just throwing punches just to throw them, you know, and get points. And, you know, I think that's a major reason why he lost to Alberto Puello in his fight before last, you know. But against Rayo, he looks sensational, you know. As I was gonna say, he shows a glimpse of greatness, but then sometimes it just seems like he has mental lapses. But, you know, he seems a little more focused. He said he listened to his corner, and he did that against Rayo, and he put on a clinic against Rayo. So I think him and Shakur is a great fight. I don't know where I'm leaning on that one, but I probably lean towards Shakur. Gary Antoine Russell versus Matias, I think that's a good fight too. But what up, pugilism? I think that Subra Matias, you know, I think he's looking for Richardson Hitchens, which makes sense because that's a sanctioned body that he's in, right? The IBF, and that's a belt that he had before he lost to Liam Paro. And then, you know, obviously Richardson Hitchens beat Liam Paro. I wouldn't mind that fight, and he is the #1 contender, right? Because he just beat Golas in his last fight, Gabriel Golas Valenzuela, and that was a title eliminator. So he's definitely in line to get that fight next. But, you know, people often forget that mandatory, you could be ranked number 1 and not be the ordered mandatory. So Subriel Matias is not ordered. And Richardson Hitchens has been talking about fighting the guy who we're watching the press conference of right now. That's George Kambosos. You know, if George Kambosos beats Jake Wiley, which a lot of us anticipate him to do so, we fully expect George Kambosos and Richardson Hitchens to fight next, you know, and they're both on Matchroom, so that's an easy fight to facilitate. But then also, you know, there's a monkey wrench that came in between that, right? Jack Catterall, El Gato, you know, the cat, he said that he wants to fight George Kambosos too. So could Kambosos pivot from Richardson Hitchens and go Jack Catterall's way? He potentially could do that. And I was watching an interview from George Kambosos today, and he was sounding like he may not be too sure about fighting Richardson Hitchens, because this is what he said. I feel like this is what a lot of fighters say when they may be reconsidering some things, especially when it comes to actually fighting a guy, right, that they've been engaged in talking shit to. He said, hey, I don't have to fight Richardson Hitchens. You know, I plan on fighting him. I want to take his belt. But he said, I don't have to fight him if he wants to keep being disrespectful. That's what they always say. Oh, a guy's being disrespectful. If a guy's being disrespectful, you whoop their ass. That's I never understood that excuse, whether it's Canelo saying it about BENAVIDEZ or Kambosos saying it about Hitchens. So I don't buy that disrespectful crap. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you should have some type of respect. You should talk about somebody, mama or sister or brother, something like that. But if you talk about in the confines of the sport, you're not being disrespectful. You're being a competitor. But the reason why I think that it might be an indication that he's going somewhere else is because he said, hey, I don't have to go his route. You know, I'm the one that brings all the money. You know, he doesn't bring anything to me except for a belt that if I want to take it. But if I want to go a different route, I will. And, you know, who dropped a tweet today and who he might have had a little quick exchange with, that was with Jack Catterall. And Jack Catterall said that he wants big fights, so he could potentially get in there because he is a matchroom fighter as well. And Eddie Hearn might make Jack Catterall versus George Kambosos, and Richardson Hitchens might be the kid left at the playground that didn't get picked. You know what I'm saying? for the game of hoops. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see how it goes, man. He might be sitting there on the corner, on the sideline sad. Yo, Big Dog Willie dropping that bread, that cheese, that butter.
These biscuits.
Yes, sir, man. What's good, bro? You said hair greased in the building, man. Hold on, let me put my GTD chain on, man. Hold on, bro. What you mean by that, bro? I don't appreciate how you came in here talking about the grease and things, man. You know what I'm talking about? Love, peace, and hair grease, my brother. You know what I'm saying? Get you some. You feel me? What's good, Willie? Yes, sir. Hitchens doesn't like the IBF 10-pound rehydration limit versus Matias. He doesn't like the rehydration limit, but this is what I want to say to him. Every time I hear him or anybody else, whether it's Boots, whether it's Hitchens, whether it's Anthony Kakasi, who just gave up his belt at the IBF belt at 130, everybody that says that about the IBF, I want to tell them this.
Shut up, bitch.
I don't want to hear nothing about no IBF rehydration limit. The IBF always had a rehydration limit. It's been there when you decided to go that route. It was there before you fought Liam Paro. It was there before you became a champion. It's there now that you've been a champion. So I get so sick and tired of people complaining about the rehydration. It's like people will complain when there's no rehydration limit. They say people are weight bullying. When there is a rehydration limit, they say they're being drained. If you can't make the weight, take your fat ass up or go to the WBC, WBO, WBA. Like I really just don't want to hear that. To me, you just sound like a baby back bitch. I ain't gonna lie. And I like Richardson Hitchens. I like Boots. I like anybody. I like all the fighters. But if you're in the IBF, you choose to go the IBF route. Stop complaining about the rehydration clause, man. If you can't make the weight, then go up. That's what it's for. You don't have to be in a weight class. It's not like, oh, they assign you weight classes when you turn pro. Okay, bet Richardson Hitchens, you're a designated IBF guy. Shakur Stevenson, you're a designated WBC. No, you choose which route you want to take it. If you opt in for the IBF route, then yes, you have to adhere to the IBF rules, and one of those is the rehydration clause. So I believe you pugilism, but to me that's not a good excuse. If you don't want to fight, if he doesn't want to fight Matias, that's fine. You know, because it's not an ordered mandatory. That's fine. You don't have to fight Matias until you have to fight him. Number one. Number two, personally, I don't think that he's scared of. I think that's a false narrative. Number one. Number two, I think people are just saying that because he didn't fight him immediately when he was the mandatory and Subriel Matias was the champion. I don't think that means that you're scared. It's so funny that people were screaming that Richardson Hitchens was scared of Matias because he didn't fight him immediately when he became the mandatory. But ain't nobody hollering about Zepeda being scared of all the champions. Zepeda was a mandatory in the WBA, IBF, WBO, and WBC. He didn't fight Gervonta Tank Davis. He didn't elect to fight Shakur Stevenson. He didn't try to fight Denis Berinchyk. He didn't fight Vasily Lomachenko. Where's everybody hollering about him ducking or being scared? It's just so funny to me, like how certain fighters are. It just seems like it's second nature for people to critique certain fighters, bro. I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? But with that still being said, to piggyback off what you said, yeah, Richardson Hitchens or anybody else complaining. I don't care if it's, like I said, Anthony Kakasi. I don't care if it's Vasily Lomachenko in the IBF. I don't care if it's Jerome Boots in the IBF. Give me some other IBF champions. Bakram Murtazaliev, Richardson Hitchens, whoever else, any IBF champion. I don't care, bro. I don't want to hear about no rehydration limit and I can't fight this person or I can't make the rehydration. Then move out the way. Let somebody else get it. Let Matthias get his spot back then. Go ahead and vacate. So yeah, I get so sick of hearing that. I saw because Jerome Boots in it said something about the IBF weight class rehydration limit being an issue. He said that, oh, that won't be an issue for his unification with Stanionis. And that's cool, but I don't want to hear it. It shouldn't be an issue, period, you know? And then Richardson Hitchens retweeted and said, oh, but when I say this, I get critiqued. You're supposed to get critiqued because you sound crazy. Not only are you in the IBF, you are an IBF champion now. Stop saying that shit, bro. It is what it is. Deal with it or don't. Stay in the IBF or don't. But you can't, don't stay in something and then complain about the thing that you're in when you could voluntarily leave. It just doesn't make sense. You just sound like you just want to complain about some shit. You're a fighter and you chose to go fight in that section of body, and that's their rules. If you don't like it, then move on. Or you can't make the weight, then move on. Nothing's holding you there besides your own desire. I would just get tired. I get tired of hearing that from any fighter. That statement of his won't age well. Yeah, facts. It won't age well at all. Yeah, people are gonna hold that against him. But I think people should relax and not hold that against him. But when he repeated it, now he just said it recently, you know, because like I said, Boots was talking about that in regard, and Boots wasn't making an excuse. Boots was just speaking on it and saying, hey man, you know, I won't be hindered by the rehydration limit because it's a unification. When it's a unification, then you don't. I think it's negotiable, but you don't have to abide by any one particular sanctioning body's rules, right? When it's a unification, I know for a fact against Stanionis, I don't know if it's every unification, but in this case, in this unification, they don't have to worry about the rehydration limit of the IBF in this unification. So, and he was saying that that's good news, but even then, I was like, I don't even care because that's just something you have to deal with. That's what you chose to do, you know. It is what it is, man. We make choices and we stick with it, you know. And I never see. I personally believe that every sanctioning body should adapt and implement the IBF rules as far as the rehydration limit because I think it protects the fighters. You know what I'm saying? And then they ain't got to worry too much about applying their own because it's already there, man. I don't like when fighters come in super big, but I don't think that they're cheating because as long as you make weight, then whatever section body you're in, as long as you adhere to those rules, you can do whatever you want. If you could blow up, you could blow up. But I personally don't like it from the optics of it. Like, I think that, you know, I think guys like Devin Haney obviously does it a lot. Dave Benavidez obviously does it a lot. Janabek and Limkanuli does it a lot. So I don't like it. But at the same time, they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're not breaking any rules. So they're actually being professional. They're making weight and then they blow up. So if you don't want them to do that, then you got to apply your own rehydration clause, you know. But it's so funny, the people that will complain about people being weight bullies will also complain about fighters putting on rehydration clauses. So you don't want people you're going to talk trash about people who blow up after they make weight, which is legal. But then you're also going to talk trash about people who put a limitation on people so they won't blow up, to restrict them from blowing up. And you say that, they're weak for stopping people from blowing up, but then you're saying that people that blow up are weak because they want to have a size advantage. It's like people just want to complain, man. People just want to complain. Yo, Ray B, and what's good, Ray B? He said facts, fighting your natural weight class. Yeah, bro, fight. And when I say natural too, Ray B, I think we agree, but I just want to make a very, very clear distinction. When I say natural weight class, I don't mean the weight that you walk around at, because even when you play in basketball, right, or football, when you get in basketball shape, you're in a different type of shape, right? You're gonna lose weight from when you just walking around gallivanting and frolicking through the woods on a Sunday or eating ice cream or going to the grocery store, right? When you're in shape, you naturally lose weight, you know what I'm saying, a lot of times. And when you're in boxing shape, like coming from somebody who used to box before and an amateur, like I could get down. I used to box at 140, no problem, but I would still have to watch what I eat. I would still be in, you know what I'm saying, my BMI would be low, very good. And then I would also I have to work out and maintain, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't easy to get down to 140 where I fought at, but it wasn't like, oh, I'm not going in there looking with my eyes sucked in, looking like a crypt keeper. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't looking like a skeleton, you know, see my whole exoskeleton. So I think whatever you could function at normally, that's what you fight at. You know what I'm saying? When I say function normally, I'm talking about what you could comfortably get down to and still be okay and not be in fear of hospitalization, like freaking Virgil Ortiz and Janibek and Limkanuli. Remember Janibek in his last fight against Andre Mikhailovich, they had to reschedule that because the first time Janibek fell out and had to be hospitalized because he was trying to make weight. Like, bro, that just, to me, it just seems like you're a kind of pussy. I ain't gonna lie. It seems like you're scared to move up to 168. You over here being hospitalized. So not only are you messing up your money, but you're messing up my money now as your opponent. And what about my team that I got to pay? What about my sparring partners? What about the time I took out to train? Now you're jeopardizing our fight because you can't make weight effectively and safely and comfortably. Nah, bro. Yeah, you got. I feel like, in my opinion, I thought he should have been stripped. And same with Virgil Ortiz. Shout out to Virgil Ortiz. I'm glad that they're both okay. But when you can't make weight and you falling out because you're struggling to make weight, I'm not gonna feel bad for you, bro. There's no doctrine that says, oh, you have to be at this weight if you're boxing. No, move up. If instead of killing yourself, literally, just move up, bro. But to me, that just shows that you want to have a significant advantage over your opponents, and that's cool. That's what you want to do. But at the same time, if you can't make weight, I'm not about to feel bad for you. You voluntarily did that to yourself, and I think you should be penalized, especially if the fight has to get postponed because you can't do something like make weight as a champion. I think that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So as long as you can make the weight comfortably, I think that's what should be done. But yeah, man, I'm about to go ahead and watch this press conference because I'm listening, but I kind of want to hear what they say, man. So probably gonna go ahead and call it, bro. You know, we kicked it for a minute. Don't forget to smack that like button, you feel me? Because they talking right now. I kind of want to hear what they're saying in the press conference. Now, I will say this, though, before I go. Now, you want to talk about a card that's not that good. I mean, this George Kambosos card is not that good, you know? But like I said, I'm you know, it's crazy. I'm most excited about Tierra Brown and Sky Nicholson. I'm most excited about seeing this fight because I think it's gonna be a good one. He said no Cord. I wasn't gonna do a Cord, but since you started off, how could I not my boy for coming in hot like you did, bro? Yeah, you can pull up. You could definitely pull up. George Ferocious Kambosos. I ain't gonna lie. George Kambosos loses this fight, he got to retire. And that's no disrespect to Jake Wally, but it's just because, you know, he wasn't really prepared to fight, you know, and he's a late replacement and he's relatively unknown. It'll just look bad. But I think George Kambosos is gonna win, and I ain't gonna lie. I'll actually be interested in seeing Kambosos against Catterall or Richardson Hitchens. I kind of want to see him versus Richardson Hitchens a little more because I think Richardson Hitchens and Catterall's build-up, Richardson Hitchens and Kambosos' build-up will be a little more interesting. And I think he loses to both of them. I think he loses to Hitchens. I think he loses to Catterall too. Yo. What's good, bro?
What's up?
Man, nothing much, man. Just trying to check out this gosh dang press conference, man. What's good with you?
Man, why you watching that trash?
Well, I'm watching this trash. Hey, man, you know I gotta pay attention, bro. I gotta make the content, bro. And you know, I mean, you know, but stuff I watch that I don't even want to watch, bro. I just because I don't. You know,
I know, because I'm just as much of a fan of boxing like you.
Right. But
well, I know sometimes we be watching shit and we be like, damn.
Yes,
I really
bro.
gotta sit through this.
Yes, bro. Especially with some of these interviews, but I just in case they say something juicy, man, because Like I said, that's how. I mean, I could make videos about Tank all day, but I just Canelo all day. I don't even want to do that, bro. Like I like, but at the same time, sometimes I'd be like, dang, man, it's a little more interesting because some of these fights, some of these interviews be kind of dull. But every once in a while, I get a gem and I could drop a video like the one I got today with Ronnie Shields, and that was dope. I got to see him drop a Jermall Charlo return date in May.
Yeah,
that's fire. Yeah,
beautiful.
Yeah, I wasn't even expecting that. So that was a pleasant surprise.
I just don't know how good of a Charlo we're gonna get.
Right, and I don't even know who he's fighting either. Hopefully he gets somebody that's will intrigue us, but also could convince us that he's back in the mix too, because he'll be fighting kind of like you know if he fought somebody like a Tim Tszyu, who's Joey Spencer, I'd be cool, like somebody like that. Like Joey Spencer is good,
Okay.
but he's not like a top guy, so it's a good measuring stick.
I guess, but he also can get a Brunello, where like they just might start him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like Brunello would be cool too. Somebody like him, yeah. To me, him and Joey Spencer like the same boat. It's just that of course, Brunello. He got that upset on Hyperbogia. And he was undefeated too, Joey Spencer not, but like, yeah, somebody like that, like somebody relatively unknown, and like we could see that, okay, they're not coming to lay down.
What about Mantequilla?
Stop it, bro. Stop. I had to think about what you said. Jermall Charlo versus Troy Isley. Hey, I'm not mad at that, but I feel like Troy Isley, it's kind of small though, right?
Yes, but it's a comeback fight,
Nah, man. See, that's what I don't want. I'm gonna tell you why I don't want that, because he just fought somebody smaller, man. He just fought Jose Benavidez Jr. I ain't trying to see Jermall Charlo be freaking bigger than all his opponents, man. If that's the case, I ain't even trying to watch him there, man. Yeah, his last fight was against Jose Benavidez Jr., man. I ain't trying to see him move somebody up again. But Troy Isley, Troy Isley is a good fighter though, right? We just saw him beat that one guy, Hercules, something, I can't remember his name, but yeah, Troy Isley. Yeah, he's a good fighter. I think that'd be too much, so yeah.
Depending on his opponent, we just might see what the Charlos are up to now.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying this is definitely not like this other channel saying like this data, the data,
yeah,
data.
For sure.
But this could tell us like, okay, they're just gonna come back once a year, make a fight, make a good person, and then retire for a year. We're gonna stay at this level, or like just like, all right, now we're ready. Now I'm ready. Now I can take on challenges. I would like to see Berlanga and Charlo, depending on how he looks and the opponent he takes, because if he looks slow, because he's got one of the best jabs in boxing, or he did for a minute.
Yeah.
But if he looks slow, Berlanga's gonna get to him, bro. He was already looking slow against Benavidez, so I don't want to see him even slower.
Yeah, I definitely want to see Charlo versus Berlanga, just not first. Yeah, just not first. And if he gets somebody like Mantequilla, I wouldn't like it, but I'm thinking somebody like Macumbi, man, somebody like that. Like Mantequilla would be cool, but it's like I said, and there's no disrespect to Jose Benavidez Jr., but it's like last time you got a fight, you kind of had a handicap in your favor, bro. Like the guy was smaller. I think if he was Jose Benavidez Jr. is a good formidable fighter. It's a good measuring stick, but not for Jermall Charlo because he's too big. He's way bigger than him. So the caliber of fighter is good. It's just at the size differential. And I think like with Troy Isley, like he would be a good fighter, but the size differential again, it'll look like a mismatch.
It look like Keyshawn.
Yeah, Keyshawn Barinchik or something like that. But at least, Keyshawn was at 135, so it's Barinchik. Jermall Charlo is at 168, and what's his name? Troy Isley's at 160.
Ooh. What about Janibek? Well, it'll make sense, but like, I don't even want to make substitution.
Not yet. Even if Janibek was talking about calling out Canelo, so why not? But I don't think that should be a first fight though. I think Janibek's gonna be.
Oh hell no!
Yeah, not a first fight. But if they fought and Depending on how Jermall Charlo looks, if he looks like his old self, and Janibek really serious about going to 168, I got Jermall Charlo. I don't got Janibek against nobody at 168 or beating anybody of any consequence at 168.
What if he goes to 168 and he's still passing out?
That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy, bro. You got to go to 175? That'd be wild.
That'd be wild, bro. Like, damn, you scared? You seriously don't believe that much in yourself?
Yeah, that'd be wild, bro. That'd be crazy. But I think I mean, like I said, he's calling out Canelo, bro. He said, oh, I don't know. Did you see that when he called out Canelo? It was like a couple days ago, earlier this week.
Yes, bro.
Yeah, he's like Canelo be easy work. So I mean, if he really means that, then yeah, go to 168, man, and maybe he can do good against like Pacheco and Billy and Berlanga and Iglesias.
I can see Pacheco. I can see him and Pacheco being a good fight. I just don't see him against Canelo. Easy work for who? The guy that just passed out.
You're right.
Like, even his top rank photo, I don't know if you've seen it. He looks so small.
Right.
Like, not small, like height and all. Like, physically, like his cheekbones are like, you can see his cheekbones.
Right.
His eyes are sucking in. You can't really tell. You gotta really pay attention because he got a full beard and a mustache and all that stuff. But you take away that, you're like, golly, bro, you look like Kane whenever he weighed in against Loma.
You ain't lying, bro. He just said, "I'm talking. Wait your turn."
Hey, yo.
That's what George Cambosa said.
Hey.
But you know, like this car right here, oh man. It's not that good, but I'm still going to wake up. Now, this fight, if anybody misses this card, I don't blame him because this is in Australia and it's going to be at like 4 in the morning. If anybody misses this, I don't blame him.
Yeah, I know. I might see it. I might wake up. Is it free or is it like pay-per-view?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's free on DAZN. Well,
it gotta be.
If you have a DAZN subscription, yeah, it gotta be, bro. Ain't nobody paying for this. I'm about to look it up right now. Gotta be free.
You know Eddie though. He's got like Sky Nicholson and Cambosa. They'd be like, no, these are stars. These are mega stars.
Yeah, and she's fighting her mandatory too. So yeah, you might try to put a price on it. Nah, it's live on DAZN. No, there's no price as long as you got DAZN.
Man, I don't know. I just don't want to wake up and watch. Like, there might be good fights though. They might surprise me. Like Japan, it's just Australia is not really engaged me yet to where I gotta wake up that early for that.
Right.
Japan's like every time there's a Japan card 4 a.m. I'm like, all right, bet I'm gonna wake up, watch these great fights, probably go back to sleep. But Australia last time was like, who was Jaya Bataya, right? At 2 in the morning.
Yep.
2 in the morning, bro. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I still woke up and I was like, and there was a fight that I was like, ugh.
Yeah, I like that though. I ain't gonna lie, I like that one.
It was a good card. It's just like at moments they're like,
yeah, that's how I feel, bro. That's how I feel every time. It's like, bro, could I be when I get off a stream, bro, I be doing other stuff, man. So it's not like I just be. So I be, yeah, but every time I gotta wake up at freaking 3 or 4 in the morning, I be like, guys, they give me an hour or 2 more hours of sleep, because I don't sleep much. But when I sleep, I be sleeping good. Give me a good 4 or 5 hours. But then, but at the same time, like you said, the Japanese cars, they definitely usually are worth it. So
yeah.
And hopefully this card is worth it too. So we'll see.
Hey, what you thought about my questions? I want to see your ranking. The one I dropped in the court. Join the court, everybody. Join the court. It's a great community. We're all family there. It might get a little crazy, but not too much. But what do you think about my question? What
was the question again? Oh, the rankings. Yeah, no, I thought it was good. I thought it was good, except for the first one. Outside of the first one, pretty good,
All right, to the people that don't got the court, it's like this court. It's like ranking each champion from 135 and 140.
Mm-hmm.
How will you rank them? I have number 1 Tio, Number
Yeah, you
2,
wild.
Tank. Number 3, Shakur. Number 4, I think I got Puello. Number 5, I got Keyshawn. Number 6, I got. Well, I got number 6.
No, no.
Oh, Gary Anton Russell. Number 7. Number 7. Who I got number 7? Man, who are the champs? I make it up.
He said Cambosa's crashed it out. What's good, boys? Yeah, I'm watching it right now. That's what I'm watching. I don't think he crashed it out. I think he just talking trash to Jake Wally. And Jake Wally also fought Dana Cool. I didn't know that. That's a bro Shushu carry to beat. Now I could do a tier list tomorrow. Good Lord willing in the morning, because I don't think there's gonna be too much stuff to talk about. So yeah, we can do one tomorrow at 140, 135. Nah, I'll let you know.
Nah, like just to check. Oh, number 7, I got Hitchens. Number 8, I got who else? Oh, Lomachenko. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a bad list for the champions at 135 and 140.
But you don't think Tio should be a number 1?
Hell no.
Why?
I have Tio number 3 probably.
Okay, tell me why. I'm not talking about like them as a fighter. I'm talking about them since they became how they won the champion and since they had the championship.
Who did Tio win the championship off of the WBO belt? I don't even
Taylor.
remember. It was Taylor? Okay.
Yeah, remember he won the ring off of him because he was
Yep. Yo, Dooley, what's good? Cambosa's punk Jake Wiley. Yeah, Jake Wiley's just happy to be there, man. He don't get no credit for that.
Bro, he was a fan.
Yeah.
Yesterday he was a fan.
Yeah, exactly. He don't get no, any credit for that. But yeah, we go talk. I'll talk about it tomorrow as far as the rankings go.
All right, I'm gonna give you my background just so you.
All right.
Before you you gotta go. But it's like Tio, he beat Taylor.
Fire.
Jermaine Ortiz, that was a good win.
Stop
bad
it.
Performance.
Stop it.
No, it was a good on paper.
Stop it.
Going into the fight, you didn't think that was a good fight.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Like it was a good win.
No.
Name wise.
I disagree.
Name wise.
No.
Name wise.
Nothing wise.
Oh
now
my God.
he killed him. He shot himself in the foot, man. Jermaine Ortiz shot himself in the foot. It would have been a good win.
Oh no.
But
I do agree.
Yeah. So
It just going into the fight, it was a good fight, right?
yeah,
Now what happened?
going in, but
Like, the
Tio looked
aftermath.
bad too, though, right? But it was
that's
aftermath
what I'm
of the
saying.
fight itself. It's not just the aftermath, right, okay.
And I tell you, like I always tell you, like I think Jermaine Ortiz should have won. I think he got robbed. We just don't care about it because what he tried to do, he tried to finesse boxing.
Right. So how could that be a good win if you thought that he should have lost?
Because he told me that before.
I can't say it's a good win if we thought he should have lost. You know, I don't mind.
No,
I actually thought that Tio should have won.
This.
Huh?
You told me this. It was like going into the fight. We think Jermaine Ortiz was a good fight.
I agree 1,000%.
It was just a bad result. That's what that's what you told me. Like,
I agree. Yeah, 1,000%.
So it's like it's a good win, bad performance. You know. In my opinion.
So okay. So let me ask you this. So was the win controversial?
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying. So how could it be?
100%.
Right. So
100%.
Right. So it's not that I'm saying that Jermaine Ortiz is a bad opponent, but it's that they both look bad. We could think of things that Jermaine Ortiz should have did and things that Teofimo should have did, and a lot of people think that he should have won. So I'd rather say I think Sandor Martin win is better than that.
That is true. I'm not gonna argue.
But I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying because you're saying personnel wise, yeah. If you beat Jermaine Ortiz, that's good. But it's just that was like, did he even beat him? You know, I'm glad he won. I'd have been mad if he would have lost because I think that's like you said, he tried to finesse boxing. But is it a good win?
Opposite.
Yeah,
I'm opposite from you.
Mm-hmm. You're opposite.
Because I think Jermaine Ortiz should have won because, like it or not, like I don't care because he tried to finesse the boxing. You know,
right.
But I think he also should have got the win because he did more than enough to beat him.
Okay, so right, so that goes back to my question. Then how could we say it's a good win if you didn't even think he won? You know what I'm saying? But I get what you said personnel wise. I got you.
No idea.
Yeah,
but I'm not gonna argue about Tio with you. Like, hell no. It gotta be someone like, hell no, I ain't gonna argue.
No.
It gotta be Espinosa or something.
Right, but no, but I'm with
argue
you. but I'm with you though, because I don't think that's, like I said, I think it's a good list. I just disagree with that part. I would put him at number 2 or number 3. I think maybe number 2 or 3, but because I'm thinking but look who you have. You have 2 and 3, Tank and Shakur. So I would just move him behind those two, and then everybody else would probably be the same. And I might even put Tio at number 2 instead of 3. I might even put him above Shakur.
See, I have Tio as number 1 because he did fight for the title.
True.
Now, being interim has its own merit. You know, you beat whoever you had to be either interim or number 1, and you fought for the vacant title. That has its own merits. But he didn't only just be a champion; he beat the guy at the division in a spectacular way too.
True. Who the heck is this Terramona guy fighting, bro? Like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. But yeah, he did beat the guy, but he also lost to Kambosos too. You know, Shakur doesn't have any losses, so.
No, I'm talking about since becoming champion. Since
okay. I got you. Okay.
Acquiring the champion.
Okay.
And like what have you done with the belt lately?
Right. Okay.
But ranking wise, Tio goes behind. Ranking wise, I put Tio number 4.
Okay. Okay, I see. I thought you were talking about. Okay, I got you. Toe loves chasing that L. In my opinion. Oh, Tio loves. I'm about to say, hold on. We talking about feet? Who got a foot fetish? He said Tio loves chasing that L. I was like, hey, hold on now. He said, Doc. Oh, no one's fighting right now, Dooley. I'm just watching the press conference of Kambosos versus Jake Wiley. Scott Nicholson, Tierra Brown, and then Terramona. I don't remember his opponent. And Shrenika Johnson. I can't remember who her opponent is.
Terramona's crazy, bro.
Yeah, Toe is crazy. Yeah, Toe is wild. But yeah, I'm just watching the press conference. This is a press conference for the fight on Saturday.
You Toe got who got a foot fetish? I was like, what? You nasty motherfucker. Whoever you is.
I'm telling you, bro. They got that right. What's that football coach? Rex Ryan. Rex Ryan had a foot fetish.
Oh, can you imagine that? I be having my socks on all the time around that guy. Well, I don't know. You ain't watching my feet. My feet are already ugly.
I'm telling you, bro. How wild, Doc Dooley. That was crazy. Oh, Tierra Brown in her face, bro. They turning up. It's going to be a good fight.
I might see it. I might wake up to watch it.
Nah, this is going to be a good one, bro. I think it's going to be a good one. Somebody's going to get embarrassed. I mean, it ain't going to be no knockout. Sky only has 1 knockout. So,
no, they don't have much power, honestly.
Yeah.
I heard the bitches, it's not like they have power.
Right.
They can fight, though. They definitely fight, but they don't have power.
Yeah, and I think somebody going to get embarrassed, man.
I mean, the amount of talking they've been doing this while.
They doing crazy talking. She in her face right now.
They're like, oh, yeah, no, he my baby daddy. Oh, no, he my baby daddy.
Eddie Hearn, man. You can't get too wild, man. Eddie Hearn they might have jumped Tierra Brown up there, man. She better be careful. She ain't even know it was 2-on-1. She ain't even know.
She's like, hold on, fool, you with me too? What you doing?
Right. She better be careful, man. Don't be talking to Eddie Hearn boo like that.
Yeah, about smack you before, like Tio smacked Barboza, and you be like,
well, hey, bro. Hey, that's one thing I got to give Tio. That slap was a nice.
That was
slap.
clean.
That was a clean slap, bro. I'm talking about loud too.
The thing I don't get is how people claim to be street, but they don't know when that's gonna happen.
Right.
Bro, you see that? I seen that coming from a mile away.
A mile away, bro. Come on, bro. The man took off all his accessories. He almost took off his mascara before he slapped him too. He took off his eyeliner, took off his earrings, took off his the little cricket sword he had, the cricket stick. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the heck he had. He took off everything. He took out his belt. Yeah, you ain't think he was gonna slap you, bro? You just slapped him. You ain't slapping, him, but you slapped off his hat. That's essentially effectively the same thing. Barboza tripping, man. So if that's any indication, man, I think TLF was probably gonna win, man, because he can get a clean slap like that.
I know. I think that might just fire up Barboza.
I hope so, man. I hope so, and especially with Teofimo still seem like his feelings hurt that Canelo and Eddie Reynoso dropped. I'm talking about he can't believe it. What you mean you can't believe it? What you thought, bro?
They ain't want Maria. What the hell you gotta be doing knowing that anyway?
Come on, man.
Do your own way. But anyways, yeah, that's why I had T at number 1.
No, I'm not mad at that though. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad. I don't think T number 1 is bad. I just disagree.
Now, Tank being number 2. I'm not mad at that. Like Tank number 2, because he's so close to being number 1.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that
I
either.
think what's holding him back is the fact that he didn't really fight for the title. He was in position, like I say, that has its own merit.
Right.
But I think it's just he'll won it from the guy at the division, so it's like hard to climb that.
Yes, sir. My brother Thomas Hill in the building. What's good, bro? Don't get me wrong. I got bad grammar. What you talking about? Nah, you good. But yeah, man. I'm with you. I don't think anybody having Teal with number 1. Like I got a number 1 at 140, but when we mix the 135 and 140, that's I don't have him. But I don't think you're wrong to have him there. I don't think anybody's wrong to have him there. I think it's interchangeable.
I'm surprised about people not being surprised of Loma being number 8.
Come on, man. You know where you at. you in the Real Boxing Channel, man. Let me pull up let's pull up now that the thing is over with. Let me pull up your stuff. Let me pull up the rankings you had on it. And we're gonna pull it up tomorrow as well, but let me see where it's at. Here it go right here. He said if y'all were to mix 135, 140 pound champions rankings, how would it look like? This is Oscars. Oscars number 1 is TKO. The race is Lopez. Number 2 is Tank. Gervonta Tank Davis. Number 3 is Shakur. 4 Alberto Puello. Keyshawn number 5. Gary Anton Russell number 6. Richard Hitchens number 7. Lomachenko number 8. I'm not mad at Lomachenko being 8 because he's inactive, man. Like, I just dropped a video on that today. He October, like that's crazy. And he beat Kambosos, which is a good win. First person to stop Kambosos, but I mean Richard Hitchens beat Liam Parle. Liam Parle beat Subra Matias in his backyard. So Gary Anton Russell Jr. Yeah, I'm cool with this list. Like I said, I would just put T.O. behind Tank and Shakur. But Alberto Puello, I'd maybe put. No, I like that. I like it. I ain't changing nothing.
See, if you think about that one, Alberto Puello and Keyshawn, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like they're dead even. The only thing that Alberto Puello has is a defense against it with his title. But it's like those two are dead even. I don't know. I don't care who you got above.
Yeah, and Alberto Puello, I think it's more justified to put him above because you could argue that him and Sandor Martin could have went either way, but he beat another champion in his last fight, Gary Anton Russell. Keyshawn Davis had a more dominant win over Barinchyk, but I mean, who else has he really beat outside of Barinchyk? So Alberto Puello has 2 good wins back to back. But you can argue that Sandor Martin's controversial. So if someone had Keyshawn above Alberto Puello, I wouldn't be mad either, but I would have it how you have it. Gary Anton Russell and Richard. I just, to me, it just looks bad having Richard Hitchens down there so far. But I mean, I can't put him over. I mean, I wouldn't put him over anybody. So this is a tough list. You know what I'm saying? 1 through 8 are good fighters. I mean, they're all champions, literally. So. Oh, Omari's here. What's good, Omari? Yo, what's up, Omari? Yo.
Yo.
What's good, bro? I'm glad you made it home safely last night, man.
Good. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got home safe. Sure.
Yes, sir, man. I saw it. I responded to you in the Discord. He said female boxing should go for 3 minutes. I agree. I wish they would, too. Yeah. Some of them, like Amanda Serrano, was pushing for that, too. And which I was reading some Amanda Serrano tweets, man. I don't know, man. I don't have nothing against her, but it's, when I read Amanda Serrano's tweets and I just think about like if Clarissa Shields would have said that, I feel like she would get more blowback. People would say, "Oh, she's arrogant for saying the same stuff." But I can't help but think like that when I read some of her stuff.
Now that you point that out, they do basically say the same thing.
They basically be saying the same stuff. I would say that Clarissa is more defensive, though. Of course, she's probably more combative. But they be saying the same, like Amanda Serrano, and I know she meant well, but like when she signed, I was reading this tweet, she was like, "Oh yeah, it's not just about me, it's about how I open doors for other women, and like, Yeah, you know, we get it, and I think that's dope, you know. But if Chris would have said that, oh, you know, I'm trailblazer, I'm opening the doors for other women, they would say, oh, you're arrogant.
Yes, yes,
It's
yes,
crazy.
yes,
Like
yes.
Alicia Baumgartner is a beast in her own right. She's undisputed. I know. Amanda Serrano is a 7-time champion. Has she ever been undisputed? I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. But I feel like she has, but I don't know for sure. Which it doesn't matter. But my 7 times undisputed. I mean champions is crazy. But my point is that Alicia Baumgartner has stuff. She has her own accolades too. So yes, she's definitely opened it up for her. And I'm sure that Amanda Serrano played a big role of getting Alicia Baumgartner there to MVP. But it's just like, yeah, kind of get it, man. Alicia Baumgartner is
like
there too.
Just keep it consistent. You
Just
can't
keep it consistent. That's it.
My opinion, I don't agree with that 3-minute stuff, man.
You kind of
'Cause,
low,
I mean-
Omar. I can't hear you. Yo, Jay Boxer, what's good, brother? Big member in the building.
You know?
It's just kind of low on my end. Maybe I'm gonna check the volume. Maybe I have you turned down. Shout out to Ryan Boxing Talk up north in the building. Big member in the building. Let me see. Maybe I gotta turn you up on my side. Oh, no, you turned up on my side, bro.
I
Yeah,
think
you
it's
kinda
my.
look-
Okay, I
Oh,
hear
there
you
it
now.
is.
That's good now. Whatever you did.
All right. It's my headphones, but I don't really agree with that 3-minute stuff, bro.
You
I
don't
mean,
think-
it's like it's respectfully. I'm gonna say this, and this is my opinion. I know some people might not agree,
that's okay.
but I feel like half of the women's boxing,
Mm-hmm.
like fighters cannot even really box, bro. All they do is headbutt and elbow.
That's crazy, bro. Who can't really box, bro? What you got?
Turkey.
Who you
Talk to
talking
him,
about, bro?
Omari.
Come on,
They
bro. Who you
talk
talking
well.
about, bro?
Patriarchy.
A lot of people. You see, like
Come on, bro. We
Katie
see
Taylor is one.
Yes, Katie
That's
Taylor,
it.
yes, for sure. Katie Taylor was headbutting the hell out of Serrano, but she did get it at featherweight. Okay, appreciate that, Jay.
Amanda, she was a featherweight. You right?
No, he said she was featherweight, undisputed. I don't know, undisputed though. You sure it wasn't unified?
Let me see. Let me look
I
at.
think it means unified. I'm confused.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember her.
I think if Amanda Serrano was undisputed even once, people will already consider her the GOAT. The GOAT.
She might be though. I'm looking it up now. Let me see. I think Jay might be right. Yeah. He says, okay, it says first ever undisputed Puerto Rican boxing champion.
Serrano?
Yep. She gave up. Okay, that's what she gave up undisputed. And I think that's what is that when Sky was on her head top about it. Which I'm not mad at. Hey, you got undisputed. Hey, go get the money. That's what it's for. Yeah, she gave up, and that's what the 3 minute. Yeah, she gave up the WBC because they wouldn't allow her to do 3 minutes. So she claims. I do remember that issue. I didn't know. I completely forgot she was undisputed. Shout out to her.
No, I agree with I have to give Omar some pushback. I do agree with the 3 minutes.
I think
It's because there's some bad, there's some mean boxers that are female. The Brazilian girl that the Stone just reassigned, she's pretty damn good. But I do agree that there's also not majority. It's just like the ones that are televised,
right?
They're not as good, but they still gotta get they still gotta get some love. The only reason I give some pushback about the 3 minutes is because whenever you're 2 minutes, you're forced to be rushing the whole time, to be forcing things. And not only that, it's like whenever they, like Michaela May or Sandy Ryan, there was times where it just felt forever just because, like, the fight just seemed boring, though it wasn't, because if they take a round or two off, it's just that much significance to the fight.
Yep. Definitely, yeah, definitely right. I was actually typing it because I was letting my boy Oscar talk, and yeah, I think the headbutts and the 3. I would like to see 3 minutes, but I mean, if it stays at 2 minutes, that's cool. But I wish it would.
Yeah, talk to them, dog. Patriarchy.
I think it would be cool to have it at 3 minutes, but yeah, I disagree with Omari too. I think they be fighting. I think the headbutts That's just a Katie Taylor thing. She's like, you know, Katie Taylor's like Amanda Serrano. I mean, not Amanda Serrano, excuse me. Katie Taylor is like Evander Holyfield and B-Hop with the headbutts, you know. So
and Sky Nicholson.
yeah, right. So I think that Sugar Deeks is Shreneka Johnson's fighting who's she fighting again? Something Nunez. Yeah. So she's fighting on the undercard of Kambosos and Wally. So I'm gonna watch that. Good Lord willing. But yeah, I think that yeah, I would like to see it go to 3 minutes. I feel like they'll be able to fight more. I think a lot of the women are in favor of that too, but I think there's some that are opposed to it as well. So, but I think that it behooves somebody like, I'm not gonna lie, if it was 3 minutes, I think Michaela Mayer would have got Natasha Jonas up out of there. I think if it's 3 minutes, I think Caroline Dubois might get some more KOs. Like I said, I don't think it has to be, but if it was, I think it would be.
Sandy Ryan would have definitely. I'm not saying put out, but definitely outboxed Michaela Mayer.
Ooh, yeah, Sandy Ryan was turning up. You're right about that. I like Michaela Mayer more, but I think, yeah, Sandy Ryan was definitely turning up. But
like, especially at the end of the round, so it was Sandy Ryan all the way.
Tufo, what's good, my brother? Shout out to my boy Tufo, man. He said she headbutts when she knows she can't KO in 2 minutes. It's crazy, dude. Hey, yo. Yeah, and she is the one to go. Yeah, she definitely won. You know, Amanda Serrano's a beast now. Don't get it twisted. Yeah, she's definitely a beast. I like Amanda Serrano. You know, I just think that people, they always compare her and Clarissa Shields. I feel like they just unfair to Clarissa Shields sometimes. Not talking about the yeah. So I already said it. So
it's like the comparison is not even close. Clarissa Shields was the first U.S. the first American to win gold.
Yep.
In a minute.
Right. And
twice. Now put that twice. Getting gold in the Olympics is hard. Now doing it twice is even harder.
Right.
And then she's 4-time undisputed.
Yep. 3 different weight classes.
They get the same criticism, honestly.
Yeah,
I get it. She's more combatant, but you can't criticize someone unless you grew up in the same neighborhood as them. Honestly,
that's a good point, Oscar. That's a good point.
It's like, oh, she's this, she's ratchet, she's combatant. Right. Well, how about you grew up the way she did, and then you talk about it. Right. You talk to me about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, bro, stop it.
When people and not to give it excuse, but she just get discredited a lot, man. She gets discredited a lot.
Yes, bro. It's fucking nonsense. Like, I know I cuss a lot, but how about you grew up the same way I grew up, bro? And then you can criticize me.
Talk to him, Oscar. My boy spitting, man.
But nah, I like Amanda Serrano and Clarissa Shields, they say the same shit, they just say in a different manner. That's the whole thing.
I agree with that. Anybody against 2 minutes female rounds could really stand strong on male records, male amateur records with 3 minute rounds are strong indicators. Yeah, like I said, I don't mind it either way, but I would prefer to see 3 minute rounds. But like I said, I'm not the one that makes those decisions, so you know. I'm just with Amanda Serrano and the other fighters. Like I think I see Michaela Mayer say that she would like it as well. I seen a couple. I know I seen Clarissa Shields say she's with it, and some other fighters. So why does Kambosos poster look like duplicates though? Wait, what happened with Kambosos poster, bro? Shout out to Kambosos, man. Well, it might be a duplicate. Remember, it was a late replacement, so they probably didn't get a chance to make the posters, you know, effectively. Remember, yeah, you don't even know. Yeah, exactly. Remember, he was supposed to fight Dowd Yordan. It was a late replacement. Dowd Yordan had to pull out last week, I think, or was it earlier this week? It was recently. Earlier this week, right? So it's a late notice. Like I said, Jake Wiley was going to attend the fight. He had tickets to attend the fight as a fan. So, and now he ended up fighting as a main event, which is crazy.
The crazy part is that he was probably going to cheer for Kambosos.
Of course, that's his countryman, right?
Like, Kambosos says, he's probably like, yeah, like, you know, like, yeah, my guy's saying this.
You ain't lying about that. You ain't lying, but you probably was for sure going cheer for Kambosos. Loma said Kambosos shadow realm, yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Lomachenko. Hey, go check out that video I just dropped earlier today, man. Looking forward to Lomachenko returning. What do y'all think? Do you think Lomachenko's going to fight a unification, or do you think he's going to fight his mandatory?
Mandatory.
Think so?
I don't think he wants any smoke with any of them guys.
I didn't think so
Definitely
either.
Not Shakur.
Definitely not Shakur for sure. But I didn't think so either. But, you know, and he could just be talking just to stay relevant. You know, these managers, and they're smart too and stuff like that. Good with business and promotion. But public relations. But Igis Klimas was talking about potentially fighting Tank for him to come back. So I was watching some interviews with him, and it was like 2 different interviews and stuff like that. So And of course, they even asked about Shakur too, and he was like, "Nah, I'd rather fight Tank." He said he think Tank's a better fighter. He said it's definitely a more intriguing matchup. That's what he's saying. So will he actually do it? I don't know. We'll see. But so I'm wondering if he may just like vacate his belt. If he vacates his belt, then it's like that's kind of redundant. But maybe he'll get a what's it called? A step aside money maybe. But I just feel like that'd be disrespectful if they let him get to October and give step aside money to the winner of Muratalla and Abdulayev. That'd be crazy, bro.
That's too much.
Yeah, that's too much. Yeah, fact. I agree. That's too much. But I feel like he should have to fight, which is what they said, right? They did say in the IBF's defense, they did say he has to fight the winner of Abdulayev and Muratalla. So,
but you know what they say, you know, like mandatories are overrun, like they're overrode with unifications.
Yep.
Well, I mean, never mind. That's a better example. But it's just, look at the IBF. No, it wasn't the IBF. That was WO. No, that was the example. Never mind. Next.
You sure? It might have been a good example, just different section about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say MJ McDonald. If he's like, it's not, oh yeah, no, I don't fight you, then
yeah, I don't think that's a bad example.
You're gonna get the title.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad example. I think that's a good one. And you know, I got to give the fighters the benefit of the doubt. Like so, Zaur Abdulayev and Ray Muratalla and MJ Madaliev. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they would rather earn it in the ring against the current champion. You know, MJ Madaliev against Nye anyway, and of course the other two against Lomachenko. But yeah, at the same time too, it's like I just think that
you're already right there.
Yeah, they're already right there, and I think they should get the title opportunity. And I think that'd be messed up if they let him take this long and then allow him to sidestep, you know, even if it is for unification, you know. But trust me, I wouldn't complain, but I do think that'd be messed up.
Yeah, I wouldn't complain either. It's just, I think it would have been messed up too.
Yeah.
It's like they've already been waiting for you.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Not only that, the IVF give you leniency for you to keep your title.
With the
and now you're doing this shit.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
When you could have done it last year, fuck out of here.
Right, I agree with you. You think that he beats both those guys, Muratalla or Abdulayev?
Abdulayev for sure.
Yeah, that's what I think.
A little more tested.
I think he beats Abdulayev for sure. I'm with you on that.
I think Muratalla a little bit more tested, but I still got Lomachenko winning.
Me too. I got Lomachenko beating them both.
I had Tank winning, and look at that one.
Yeah, exactly. You still got to fight, but that's the thing too. Is like Lomachenko. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, you know, he's old," and bro, like we're just imposing that on him, bro. Like, what do you mean he's old, bro? Like he just knocked out Kambosos. Tio didn't knock out Kambosos. He ain't even beat Kambosos. Devin Haney didn't knock out Kambosos, and they fought twice. So it's like, bro, like we because he's 36. We like, I don't know. I just get tired of saying that shit.
And not only that, it's like that's a horrible example, like saying Kambosos and all this, because it's like, okay, so is Kambosos good or bad? Is it Kambosos with these two guys or Kambosos with this guy? Right.
People flip flop, man. They say Kambosos is bad, and they say Kambosos is good.
Oh, they say Loma's a Hall of Famer. Ha.
Right. Depends on what they trying to say. So
Loma, a great one though. He no Hall of Famer.
Yeah, they fooled us into automatically put him in the Hall of Fame, but I ain't gonna lie, they fooled me because I'd put him in there just out of respect. But
respect?
Yeah, exactly. Is it really respect or is it just media pushing a narrative and brainwashing us? Like 18-3 is crazy. 18-3 is crazy for a Hall of Fame, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's crazy, bro.
Like let's not even put it like on a guy from today. Like if Duran was 18-3, you think he'd be a Hall of Famer?
That's a good point. And I don't care if he fought all of them. All the four kings fought each other 18 times or 21 times.
That was his record. 18
right.
Against the four kings?
Right.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah.
He only beat like Venner.
I agree.
And then he lost to the other two.
I agree. I mean, Callum Smith only lost twice, and he only lost to Canelo and Yeah, but I will say this though, you know, the difference between Callum Smith, somebody like Callum Smith, for example, is that Lomachenko does have some signature wins. You know, he got a win over what's the dude's name? Guillermo Rigondeaux, even though people say other people move people up. So you gotta say he moved up Rigondeaux, and he did no mas Nicholas Axman Walters right after Nicholas Axman Walters beat Nonito Donaire by stoppage. That was a good fight. And then he did beat Gary Antoine Russell too. That was a good one. Not Antoine Russell, excuse me. Gary Russell Jr. And he has some good wins though. You know, I don't know. Callum has somebody.
I know
like
Liam
Callum
has
or,
good wins.
yeah, Liam has.
I don't think Callum has good wins.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. He might. He got Boxy. I think that's a good win.
Definitely got Boatsy. Yep. If Loma considered old, best believe they will say Canelo was old if he loses to Bud. Oh yeah, they better. That's only fair, right?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, everybody old, man. If Terrence Crawford loses to Canelo, he old. If Canelo loses to Bud, he old. Everybody who lose, they old, bro.
Better be old.
Yeah, but is old, right? Yeah, he old, bro. Everybody old, bro. That's crazy. Huh?
I was like, I ain't gonna lie. He did slow down quite a bit.
Tom Beterbiev?
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, I'm not going for that.
Yeah, I'm not going either because
he did
that,
like yeah.
We see that if he loses, he's old.
Yep, as soon as he loses, he's old. Yep, it don't matter who he would have lost to, he old. I'm not. That's what it's like, bro. Like, you know. But if you gonna say Lomachenko old, then yeah, you got to say Canelo. I mean, he may be younger by 2 years, but he has freaking 40 more fights.
But Wilder is not old. Wilder's not old.
Right, exactly. Wilder, everybody. Come on, dog. We just got to be fair, man. If Usyk loses, then he old too, because he older. Everybody that loses is because they old. If Lomachenko's old. So, yeah, we've been saying that in this stream. Everybody. Yep, Berinchyk only lost to Keyshawn because he old. It's like, bro, like, I don't mind it, but like, the man, if like he's old and he's looking like, you know, like Pedraza, you know, shout out to Jose Pedraza, or even Deontay Wilder, like you're old because you're losing and stuff like that. I mean, like you're like, we're seeing the decline, you know, say we haven't seen the decline in Lomachenko, we haven't seen the decline in Beterbiev, we haven't seen, like, even if he looks slower, I got to give that credit to Beterbiev. I mean, to Bivol, because that's his first L. You know, he was fast enough to beat Bivol the first time. He was fast enough to stop Callum Smith before that. So it's like, you know, maybe Bivol had something to do with him aging.
Yeah, like so what do people say? You're not the same after a war.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, man, I'm gonna go ahead and get me some food though, Oscar. Man, I appreciate you pulling up again, man. Saving the stream.
Nah, no problem.
Anytime I'm free. I was about to watch that, like you said, that board ass press conference. And shout out to Oscar too, man. Always hold it down for the support, man. Really keeps us going, man. So shout out to him, and shout out to also Big Dog Willie as well, contributing as well, man. The super chat. Really appreciate that, bro.
But all right, man. You gonna be on in the morning?
Yeah, absolutely. Good Lord willing, as long as I'm alive.
Oh my God, bro, thanks.
Yeah. I know. Sorry about this morning, bro. I was like, man, I had a phone meeting, you know, and then I had to freaking I was gonna get on after, but I was like, man, I didn't really have much, you know. So I was like,
was just me and to talk about Mexico versus Canada tomorrow, soccer wise. And I don't got good hopes for Mexico, so I'm like, hello, darkness, my old friend.
We definitely gonna be on the Bronco though. I don't have much, but hopefully some other stuff pops this morning. I mean later on tonight, but even if we don't, I'm gonna do the rankings. I think that's a good idea. I just didn't want to do it today because I thought I had some pretty good topics today, so they're interesting. Yeah, but we gonna do the 135, 140 rankings, man, for real. Cause I could even put like I'm gonna put some people in there tonight, so.
All right,
my brother. Yes, sir. God bless, man. Have a good night. Shout out to my guy Oscar, man. Always coming through, man. Holding it down, man. One of the I got many favorite people in the channel. He's definitely one of them, though. I ain't gonna say who are the favorite because everybody my favorite. Oscar for sure. He up there, man. Loma moving to 135 made him great. Yeah, oh yeah. That too, Dooley. That too. Loma a beast now. I don't want to say, he was definitely better at 130, 126 could have stayed there, but Loma is great, you know what I'm saying? But I just think that it's like I never seen a fighter get afforded so many excuses. Like when he lost to Salido, his second professional fight, people said, "Oh, well, it was only a second fight and he fought a champion." He wasn't forced to fight a champion. He decided to fight a champion. It's like Israel Madrimov, right? I thought Israel Madrimov would beat Virgil Ortiz. I was going for him, you know. I like Virgil Ortiz too, but I thought Israel Madrimov would beat him. But he said he was sick, and he looked like something was wrong with him. But I don't want to hear it because you thought even when you're sick that you were still good enough to beat him, so you took the fight. You know what I'm saying? So Lomachenko, he took the fight against Orlando Salido because he thought he would beat him in the second fight. So it's the audacity of him, you know, and he bit off more than he could chew, you know, and it is what it is. I'm not going to take away that win, but people try to sweep that under the rug like it didn't happen, you know, and then he lost to Teofimo when Teofimo was an underdog. Teofimo wasn't the favorite in that fight. He lost to Teofimo, and then he lost to Devin Haney, and he appealed that. He appealed it, bro. No one said nothing, you know, but when other fighters appeal, you know, it's like, oh, you're weak and you're soft, bro. People appeal all the time. Vladimir Shishkin appealed his loss to William Skull, Canelo's opponent. He just appealed. Artem Dalakian suffered his first loss against Seigo Akui. He appealed it. Lomachenko, if I'm not mistaken, he could have got the rematch with Devin Haney, but he just decided to appeal it. He didn't want the rematch, you know. He just appealed it. So, you know, Lamont Roach just appealed his fight with Gervonta Davis, and I'm not mad at any of them. But why are you mad at some of them? You're mad at Devin Haney's appeal, not you specifically, but people are mad about Devin Haney's appeal, and he didn't have to do anything because the man tested positive, so he didn't have to appeal it. That's what they did for him. That's what happens when you pop dirty. But people were mad at that. It's like, bro, why are we mad at fighters for using the resources that are available to them to right any wrong that they felt was done to them? If they felt that they were done a disservice or injustice was carried out against them, they're a victim of some type of blunder, missed call or whatever it is, or unfair scoring, why wouldn't you? This ain't like, it's so crazy to me that all these people be hollering about some street code stuff and they ain't from the street. You know what I'm talking about? You're not even from that lifestyle. So I don't even know why you act like it's such a problem with your suburban ass. And that's okay, you know, thank God and thank your parents for putting you in a good situation. But even if you are for the street, this ain't the street, this is professional boxing. This ain't the hood, this ain't the favelas, this ain't the wherever you are, you know. So this ain't after school showdowns. This is a professional sport, and if you're able to review something, you should do it. I don't know, man. Being sick can affect everything in the game. Facts, it can, but then don't fight. I mean, Daniel Dubois pulled out, right? I'm not saying that it shouldn't affect anything. Of course it's going to affect anything, but I don't want to hear about it after the fact. That's the point I'm making. Unfortunately, that's the name of the game, right? Daniel Dubois, some people were talking trash about Daniel Dubois because he pulled out because he was sick. So people would have talked trash about Israel Madrimov probably for pulling out because he was sick. Like, you know, and really he actually got away with one because remember he pulled out the Serhiy Boachuk fight. And Serhiy Boachuk and his team and his trainers were mad, but nobody really talked trash about it. So then you pull out that fight, we were like, okay, and then you go in the next fight and then you say that, oh, I was sick. This is why I lost. No, bro, you can't keep using the same. You can't double up on the sickness. We swept it under the rug, and I was like, okay, bet you're sick. You don't fight Boachuk. Cool. I'm not knocking it. You know, but then you're sick again because you lose to Virgil Ortiz. Nah, bro. Then call out the fight. And yes, we're probably gonna talk like that's unfortunate. You know, that's how people are, right? They're gonna you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. But you can't try to hedge your bets. You can't. You're gonna have to take the little backlash. Like Daniel Dubois got a little backlash when he was sick and he pulled out the Joseph Parker fight. People talked a little trash. If Madrimov would have pulled out against Virgil Ortiz, they would have talked a little trash. But at least you would have been 100%. You wouldn't have went in there compromised. But you decided to go in there compromised. And once you make that decision, I mean, I'm sure Virgil Ortiz had some injuries too, you know. It is what it is. If you play sports before, whether it's basketball, boxing, or football, or whatever it is, very few people are 100%. So, you know, I don't want to hear after you lose that you had some issue. Even if you say cancel fight, exactly. He was sick 3 times, gonna stop. Right, exactly. So I'm not saying that's not a legitimate excuse. You know what I'm saying? It is legitimate. I believe him. But at the same time, I don't want to take away credit from Virgil Ortiz either because Virgil Ortiz fought a good fight. You know, and if you say, oh, Israel Madrimov was sick during that fight, then by default, whether that's your intention or not, you're taking away credit from Virgil Ortiz's win. And I don't think that's right either. You know, so that's just my opinion on that. He said, what do you think about people who say Inoue hasn't fought nobody outside of Donaire and Fulton? Outside of Donaire and Fulton? I mean, he fought Marlon Tapales. That's a good win. He fought what's my boy's name? That's dang, what's the dude's name? I give him credit for Lewis Neary because of the historical implication, but that's not really a good win either, you know. But because of how Neary cheated Yamanaka, who was an undefeated countryman of Naoya Inoue, then I give him credit for that. But I mean, yeah, I don't think that's wrong. And he did beat what was the Maloney? I don't remember if it was Andrew Maloney or Jason Maloney. He beat him, the Australian former champion. He did beat Manuel Rodriguez too, the Puerto Rican champion. That's a good win. So I think people are wrong, but peel out. You got to realize too that first of all, people talk trash. They don't know what the heck they talk about. That's number one. But number two, when people say that, you got to understand that people say that Terrence Crawford didn't fight anybody except for Errol Spence. To me, that's a worse statement than the Naoya Inoue one. Way worse. I think Terrence Crawford has a better resume than Naoya Inoue for sure, undoubtedly. So I do think that while I believe that Naoya Inoue fought some people that are good, you know, even Donaire, Donaire's the only Hall of Famer on his list now. That's the only Hall of Famer on his resume. Let's make that clear. And it was an old Donaire, and he had to fight him twice because the first time was a struggle. So I do think that if it wasn't for Naoya Inoue's two-time undisputed, then his resume would look shaky. Yeah. But because he's undisputed and that symbolizes that you cleaned out your division, I don't care who you fought, as long as you cleaned out your division. You can't get no better than that. You can't ask anybody to do anything besides claim all the belts in his division, and he did it twice. So I feel like it's disrespectful to say that he hasn't fought anybody. But when you say that and you're comparing him to guys like Terrence Crawford or Usyk, and you look at the personnel that they fought, of course Inoue didn't fight anybody as high caliber as Terrence Crawford's opposition. You gotta understand, Terrence Crawford, he said Gamboa was a bigger win than Spence, in my opinion, based on the time it happened. People are casuals. I can't say that it was bigger, but I get your point. Gamboa was a great win. And that's what I was gonna say. Gamboa was an undefeated little Mike Tyson, right? He beat an undefeated champion in Victor Postal. He beat a Hall of Famer in Sean Porter. He beat another future Hall of Famer in Errol Spence, and he was on the pound for pound list, you know. So I do agree Gamboa may have been more dangerous than Errol Spence because of the version of Errol Spence that Terrence Crawford got post-accident. But we got to remember, too, that Errol Spence still beat a world champion, Danny Garcia, after his accident. He still was able to beat Yordenis Ugas, who just came off of beating the legend Manny Pacquiao after his accident. So, yes, Errol Spence looked like he was weight drained, you know, but that's your choice. You know, you decided to fight him at 147. Shout out to Errol Spence. That's why he's one of my favorite fighters to watch. You know, him, David Benavidez, Tim Tszyu, guys like that, they demonstrate what it is to be a fighter. It seems like they're about that life. They'll fight anybody. So salute to them. But at the same time, if you compromise yourself, I can't then take away credit for Terrence Crawford, because yes, I can acknowledge that Errol Spence wasn't 100%, but the way that he brutalized him, I'm not sure if Errol Spence being 100% would have made that much of a difference. I think it would have been more competitive, but I still think Terrence Crawford would have won. I don't think it would have changed the outcome or the result. But yeah, I do think Inoue has some good fighters on his individuals, but when you're comparing it to Usyk or Terrence Crawford, then yeah, he falls short. I mean, you don't really recognize. I mean, he's in the small weight division too, but even if you look at the people that he beat, like look at their records and stuff like that, and who they beat, it doesn't hold a candle to guys like that Terrence Crawford beat, like Kell Brook, Sean Porter, even Amir Khan, Errol Spence, Yuriorkis Gamboa, Victor Postal, guys like that. And then like Usyk, you know, it might hold a candle to his cruiserweight reign and his cruiserweight campaign, but when you go to the heavyweight, you know, he was on a mean streak in the heavyweight. I mean, he wiped out the whole United Kingdom. He turned it into Usyk Kingdom. He beat Anthony Joshua, Daniel Dubois. He beat Tyson Fury twice, you know. So when you compare in a way to the other two top guys that are undefeated and undisputed in two different weight classes, then I do think from a personnel standpoint, from an individual standpoint, his opposition does pale in comparison. I do think so. He weakened him for 135s. Yeah, but the casuals never count Gamboa as a big one. Yeah, they don't. Yeah, exactly. They don't count anybody. They say that Spence is the only one. They don't count Victor Postal. They don't count Amir Khan. They don't count Sean Porter. They don't even know them. A lot of casuals say a lot of dumb stuff, but it is what it is. That's why we here. He's saying Gamboa is a bigger win. Oh, my bad, I read that already. He said he weakened him for 135s. Yeah, when it was going on and you signed the dot, then no excuses. Yeah, that's all I'm saying, Dooley. I'm not saying that it's not a legitimate reason. Of course, if you're sick, you don't want to be sick. It's going to impact you negatively, of course. So, and Israel Madrimov, I'm not even saying it like, I mean, we should keep the same energy, because if somebody else would have said that, we would have said, oh, you're just making excuses. But I think he's telling the truth. I don't think he's lying, but at the same time, it's like I got to give respect to Virgil Ortiz because he did his thing. And I feel like if I say that, oh, it was just because he was sick, then by default, even if that's not my intention, it's taking away credit from Virgil Ortiz, and that's not cool. That's not cool, man. But yeah, man, I'm about to go ahead and slide, man. Appreciate y'all coming through, man. Once again, shout out to my boy Oscar for dropping that love in the super chat to start off the stream, man, with the big $10, man. My brother, mi hermano, my partner, my pal, my brethren. Yes, sir. And shout out to Big Dog Willie for the $2 of the hair grease. You know what I'm talking about? Shout out to y'all, man. I appreciate the love that we get, man. Shout out to all the members, man. Keep us going and growing. Also, too, we got a new emote slot. I'm trying to think if you have any ideas for the emote, join the Discord, man. We talk about boxing even when I'm not live. We talk about the boxing in the Discord. So join the Discord, man. We chop it up in there all the time, man. And I may not be involved in the what the heck is this? I may not be involved in all the conversations, but I don't have to be. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to be. You know, so we all talk amongst each other, man. So join the Discord. I'm about to put the link in the chat right now. I'm trying to grab the link. My bad. Yeah, join the Discord, and then that's how you're able to join the panel as well. So when Oscar and Omari pull up, that's how they pull up. They pull up by joining the link, man. So join the link and then talk this boxing, man. It doesn't matter if you're casual or a purist or a pugilist enthusiast, or you just getting into boxing, man. We always love to chop up boxing, man, talk about it. So there's a link right there for the Discord. Join it. You know what I'm saying? And I'll catch you on the flip side, man. Remember, I go live twice a day, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the late show. So the morning show, once again, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The late show, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday. And, you know, we drop videos throughout the day. And we provide live boxing commentary. Don't matter if it's in Nigeria, Saudi Arabia, Japan, Australia, Jamaica, United States. It don't matter, bro. We on there, man. We on there for the live. He said, hope to be a member soon, my guy. Hey, man. Yes, sir. Join up on the membership, man. You just got to hit that join button on the YouTube. And I appreciate it, Dooley, man. You know what I'm saying? Add to the memberships, man. Keep us going and growing. You know what I'm talking about? But yeah, y'all be easy. Don't forget to smack that like button. You feel me? But most importantly, remember, with God, we can do anything. Without God, we're nothing. The doctor's out. Peace. Catch y'all in the morning. Good Lord willing. From the hood to college, both worlds they had to meet. 6 degrees between us, so cold we're about to freeze. But we're Florida boys, hot takes, we bring the heat. We're moving the culture, the engineers to the streets.